Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Talking Reds fan channel. I am Stu, your host for this morning on this reasonably nice Wednesday morning, even though you can't see through the curtains. And yeah, welcome along. We are here to discuss. There's been quite a bit going on this morning already through transfer news and things like that. So we're going to go discuss a little bit of that, but we're also going to focus a lot on the game against Yokohama Marinos when the team news comes out, which hopefully will come out fairly soon-ish. A few team predictions, maybe, or what we're going to look like, and discuss the upcoming fixtures that we've got against Bilbao and also Crystal Palace in the Charity Shield. But before we go any further on that, let's do the admin and get all that out of the way. So the sub count has been updated this morning. I changed that this morning. So we are on 1,110-ish, something like that, on the road to 1,500 subs. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel if you enjoy this content. To get us to 1,500 before the Bournemouth game. So we've got a couple of weeks. I think we can still do it. And don't forget to leave a like, and especially the likes. Leave a like on the video and get it into the chat. Get involved, and we'll have a conversation or two. Things may get a little bit heated. Things may not. Who knows? So first and foremost, I think I will start off today with the message. The message being from Luis Diaz, because Luis Diaz's transfer has been fully confirmed this morning that he has gone to Bayern Munich. So I'll just read this out if you guys haven't seen his Instagram post yet. So I'll quickly just read this out. This is off his official page. 3.5 years that I'll treasure forever. I arrived with all the dreams in the world, and I'm leaving proud of everything we achieved together. I've met incredible people, fabulous colleagues, coaches who have helped me a lot, and extraordinary fans. Liverpool is indeed a special team, and I will keep everyone in my heart. The cycle ends here, and it is so gratifying to look back and realize how happy we were. Not only because of the trophies we won, but for the union and the friendship that made it all possible. There were ups and downs, as there always are, but there was always truth, as it should be in the family. It's good to be leaving with the feeling of duty fulfilled, and most of all, to be leaving a champion. It would have been the perfect goodbye if we had not lost one of our own in such a tragic way. As I said, and I repeat, I carry everyone with me in my heart, but one of them in particular, Diogo. I will never forget him. We will never forget him. Thank you for everything. You'll never walk alone. I think that is a really, really nice message. And respect to Diaz for putting that message out. And I wish him all the best at Bayern Munich. I really do. I think he's had a great career at Liverpool. And like I say, he's won the title with us as well. So what more can you ask for? He's been excellent, and I cannot fault him for his attitude and his commitment to the club. So yeah, all the best to Luis Diaz, to Bayern Munich. Thank you very much. That money is now being put into the coffers. Quick hello to Prakash. Thank you very much for joining again this morning. Very good to see you. But yeah, now that money has been pumped into the Isak deal, and looking at the Isak deal as well, I believe I read this morning that a bid has been tabled for around about 125 million. So make of that what you will. I've also read that the contract has been pretty much sorted. There's never going to be an issue with that, but it looks like we have actually put a bid into Newcastle to get this one sorted out. Good morning, Fireburn. How are you doing, my friend? And also, Emmanuel Canada. Liverpool are the best team, and that is a fact. You just have to look at the money side of things on that as well, which I actually just read. I'm going to go on to that as another little snippet in a second. But also a couple of other bits of news that have been coming out. Looks like Lyon have agreed contracts with Tyler Morton, which actually kind of caught me off guard a little bit. I didn't expect Lyon to be coming in, obviously going through all their financial difficulties. To be honest, I've lost track of that story, so I have no idea what sort of position Lyon are actually in at the moment. I don't know whether they've been relegated. I don't know whether they're in financial trouble. Who knows? But apparently all the financial details with the player have been agreed, but nothing's been agreed with the club as yet. But I don't expect that's going to be too much of an issue, to be fair. So yeah, it looks like Tyler Morton, as expected, is going to be on his way out. And yep, looking at the Isak deal, that looks like it's all going ahead. If we have a quick look at another one of the pages that I was looking at, and I will allude to the financial side of things, which is something that has been picked up on by James Pearce. And over the last decade, Commercial revenue at Liverpool has almost tripled. The commercial income for last season, that'd be the 23-24 season, because obviously the accounts aren't done for the 24-25 yet, was more than half of our total revenue. And also, for the first time in the Premier League era, our commercial revenue surpassed Man United's. Beating Man United at everything. That's what we like to see. And again, it's just another little dart in the dartboard to say, oh, why are Liverpool spending so much money? How can they do this? Because of that. Savvy business decisions. And commercially, we are absolutely nailing it. And it also goes to show through our social media engagement, because another snippet from James Pearce this morning was, according to figures from Blinkfire Analytics, Liverpool had 1.7 billion engagements across all social media platforms last season, more than the top 10 teams in the NFL and the NBA combined. We are making waves. Make no doubt about it. Liverpool are massively back with a bang, and we are not stopping. It is simple as that. We are here to stay, and we are not going to be budged out of it anytime soon. I'm just doing a quick check over a couple of other things as well. As somebody else pointed out on Twitter, the appreciation from Liverpool Football Club to Diaz after his transfer has been confirmed. Nice thank you message from the club and all that sort of stuff. It's not gone unnoted that this didn't happen for a certain player who left in the summer. Answers in the chat. Who you think that was? But also looking at another page on Twitter, I'm dipping around. So this is another little bit of the latest on the Isak transfer saga, and this is coming from Indicalia, who has been hitting the nail on the head every single time for God knows how long on transfers. But apparently there is a bit of a civil war breakout at Newcastle. Some players are unhappy with the Isak situation. Some players want to see him sold. Some players want to see him stay. Everybody's just getting annoyed with the backroom staff and the board at Newcastle because they don't seem to be doing anything properly about it. But like Fireburn has just put into the comments here, hopes of signing Seshko have reportedly handed a huge boost because United had turned their attentions elsewhere. I alluded to that a little bit yesterday as well, that they just can't afford the 60-65 million for Sechko after they've just spent that amount of money on Mbumo and Cunha. So if they can't afford it, then it looks like Newcastle are going to be in the driving seat for that one. And if they get him, then that will definitely be Isak on his way out. I would have thought. But Indy has also come up with a little thing about some exclusive news coming up at 10:30. So we're going to stay online for that to see what comes out of this, because he's tagged Liverpool and Newcastle in it. So it's got to be something to do with Isak. Got to be something to do with that. And, whoa, blooming heck, there's a lot of news going on this morning. It's coming in quickfire. Is that Crystal Palace have put a bid in for Jan Orel Bisek over at Inter Milan. And if that is accepted and the deal goes through, then that gives clear leeway for Gahey to join Liverpool. So, looks like things are moving very, very, very quickly. Let's have a quick little look at the comments of what's going on. We're moving like champions should, making moves on and off the pitch, back on our perch. Exactly that, Prakash. Exactly that. And Tony Steele pretty much seconds that as well, are moving differently. And like you say, the revenue we're bringing in is major. Yeah, I mean, a few years ago, I do remember like sort of a lot of attention being put onto the commercial side of things for the club, and they were really emphasizing that. And it looks like it's starting to pay off. 3 or 4 years of hard work of trying to get us up into like the stratosphere commercially is definitely starting to pay off now. And like I say, for the 23-24 season, if we're bringing in that much money, that is totaling half of our revenue for an entire season just through commercial sales alone. Imagine what the 24-25 accounts are going to look like, and imagine what the accounts are going to look like for the 25-26 season when we've got Wirtz over the line, shirt sales for that, Isak over the line, shirt sales for that, Ekitike, Frimpong, Kirkez. All those new shirt sales and everything are going to be mental. The commercial side of things is just going to go off into another realm, and we're going to leave clubs like Man United in the dust completely and utterly. That's what I'm saying. Gahey looks like he's going to be the man that's going to be coming in, which, let's face it, centre-back is probably our weakest position. And also, we have lineup news. Okay, so team news has just come in, if you guys haven't seen it. Starting with Marmadashvili in goal, Van Dijk, Konate, Szoboszlai, Salah, Gakpo, Gravenberch, Ekitike, Kirkers, Wirtz, and Bradley. You know what? That is an incredibly strong starting 11. And I wouldn't be too surprised if that was something along the lines of our starting 11 against Palace in the Charity Shield. Maybe. There isn't one player that I would completely take out of that. Obviously, Alisson isn't with the squad at the moment. He's had to go home with a personal issue. So that stands to reason. That's why Marmadashvili is more than likely starting. But on the bench, you've still got Freddie Woodman, Pesci, Endo, Nunes, McAllister, Jones, Elliott, Tsimikas, Robertson, Frimpong, Ngumoha, Morton, Stevenson, and Nioni. Now, in the second half, I would expect the likes of Endo, maybe even Pesci, Jones, Elliott, Tsimikas, Frimpong, Ngumoha, and all that to get a start in the second half. I think that's how it's going to run again. I do apologize. This is looking like a very, very Greek name, but it hasn't translated very well into the chat, so I can't pronounce it. The match, I do believe, is going to be live on LFC TV, but I'm sure somewhere along the lines there'll be other streams going on. I can't suggest anything, though. Prakesh has picked up on that. Yes, Ekitike's name is the same backwards as it is forwards. Yeah, I did notice that. And good morning to Bush Baptists, or as we say, all right, lad. Yep, we do say that. Oh, bloody hell. I'm clicking through the comments here. So, Damo's in the chat as well. Wirtz, Salah, Gakpo, and Ekitike is the front four. Yeah, by the looks of it, I would hazard a guess that it's going to be Szoboszlai and Gravenberch being the central midfielders and Wirtz obviously being up front with Ekitike in front of him. But it's kind of interesting that he's starting Ekitike straight away. He's obviously been quite satisfied with his performances on the training pitch, even though he's not even been with the club a week, I think, or it may just be on a week, something like that. So that is looking very, very strong, and I would not be surprised in the slightest if that is near enough going to be our starting lineup for the season. Maybe if we do get Isak, he starts ahead of Ekitike. I would expect that. And maybe Frimpong ahead of Bradley. Possibly. But we'll see. We will see. But it's looking impressive at the moment. It is looking very impressive. I need to keep an eye on what's happening on at 10:30 on Twitter, because if something's going to be coming out about the Isak deal, then that is what we need. And also, annoyingly, this is going to be... I thought this would have been our first appearance in the new kit, but it's not. We have still got to start in our old kit. Ugh, annoying. I want to see us in our new strip. I know, obviously, contractually, we can't do anything besides going past the 1st of August. A little bit more on the Isak stuff. So the Athletic has talked to a multitude of individuals regarding Isak. Many of the conversations point to Isak eventually leaving Tyneside and joining Liverpool, but it's not a done deal. It is not a fact. Well, take that as you will on that side of things. And yeah, I think it is a done deal. I think it is a fact. I think Newcastle need to get a few more of their own ducks in a row more than anything else. Let's have a quick look and see what else is coming through. So on the other side of things, transfer-wise, looks like Aston Villa may be looking at Lois Openda, which is quite interesting, because they are in need for a striker. What that means for Ollie Watkins, I do not know. Let's have a quick look through. Yeah, gone through the Bissek stuff and the Leon stuff as well, which is pretty decent. So, yeah, I'll keep an eye on Twitter up until 10:30. Red goals. Stelas Gatsaros. Is that correct? Is that what it translates to? All right, fair enough. I'll take your word for that. Bush Baptist, yeah. Imagine how Bournemouth are going to be feeling in a couple of weeks. Yeah, I do remember it wasn't so long ago, a couple of seasons, that we absolutely battered them. Absolutely battered them 9-0 on the first day of the season. I think Scott Parker was the manager at that point. So I'm not that I'm expecting a 9-0 against Bournemouth first game of the season, but I would not be surprised if it's something close to that. I really wouldn't. The way Bournemouth have been split apart, obviously losing Dean Howson, Zabanier, I don't know what exactly is happening with him. Obviously, they've lost Kirkes, and potentially could be losing a couple of other players. I think they could be struggling a little bit. Lennox, unfortunately, I'm not going live for the game. I don't know whether anybody else is. And yeah, unfortunately, I've got work to do after this, so I'm not going live for the game. I'm only going to be dipping in and out on the scores when it happens. All right, okay, so Gatsaros, I meant, is Greek Cypriot descent. All right, thank you. That's a good little education lesson on that one. Thank you very much for that, Red Goals. But speaking of fixtures, so we have only 2 more preseason friendlies after this in a very weird setup where we play Bilbao in 2 games, literally one after the other. Very strange setup. Not entirely sure whether I like that or not. I think I'd rather play another team, but it is what it is. And then obviously that's on Monday, the 4th of August. So that's only on next Monday. Damn, that's come around quick. And then obviously we have the Charity Shield next Sunday on the 10th of August. Palace. So what would you guys expect the team to be against Crystal Palace when it comes around? And what would you expect the team to be by the time we get to the Bournemouth game? And also, Lennox, as Damo said it in the chat here, live watch-alongs, will be coming for this season. We will be doing a few watch-alongs, hopefully as many as we can. So they'll be going into the streaming schedule as well. So we are going to be doing them. But yeah, guys, leave your suggestions down in the chat. Is there any other players that you'd want to see come into the club? Do you think we do need another winger to come in to maybe complement the squad in total? Or do you think we're going to be all right for the season? Again, where do you think our weakest points are? Is it centre-back or is it DM? Personally, I think it's more centre-back at the moment. I think DM, we could probably survive another season, maybe. Touch wood on that one, but I still would really, really like some sort of bone-crunching, ball-busting, ball-winning midfielder to come in just to add a little bit of steel. But whether that's possible this transfer window, I don't actually know. Oh, Red Goals. Oh, so you are Greek Cypriot. Right, got you. Now I understand. Hence the reason why you know. Oh, thank you very much for that anyway. So yeah, well, where do you guys see our weaknesses at the moment? Where do we need to really stack out the squad? Fireburn is saying Gahey is a priority, especially after Isaac as well. Yeah, on that I do agree, but I still think we need another centre-back on top of that. I really do. And there are a few young ones out there that I wouldn't mind seeing come into the club if possible. But yeah, centre-back is definitely a weak area, especially with Gomez's injury record. Because at the moment, we only have 3 centre-backs, Van Dijk, Canate, and Gomez. But if Gomez is always going to be injured, that only leaves us with 2. And I don't particularly want to rely on Grav or Endo filling in, or Robertson as centre-backs, because that's not really their position. We need the proper cover. So Gahey is definitely a priority in my mind for that. But also another one on top of that, because I think Gahey may be the long-term replacement for Van Dijk, but then we also need a younger centre-back to back up Canate for when Gomez is injured. Personally, my suggestion on that one would be Scalvini from Atalanta, but because he had a bad injury last season, I'm still a little bit doubtful on that one. But then there are other players that could come over, say, from Germany. We've got Lekeba at Leipzig, Bitshabu there as well. There's a couple of other players over in France, Spain as well, and Italy that we could go for. And there's also a couple of young centre-backs, English ones that have moved abroad. Charlie Creswell would be an interesting one to see and take a look at as well. And also, how did I forget that we actually managed to do Arsenal and Man City over yesterday as well. If you guys missed it, the little transfer story on Will Wright, the young 17-year-old lad who played for Salford City and banged in, I think it was like 50 goals last season in the youth team. I thought we were going to miss out on him. I thought we weren't going to pull the trigger and he was going to go to Arsenal. But we picked him off at the last minute and he's having his medical and he will sign on within the next couple of days. So not only are we looking at future-proofing the first team squad, we are looking at some of the best talented youth players in this country to keep that pipeline going. And by all accounts, this Will Wright, he is a talent. You don't just bang in 50 goals in the youth system without having a little bit of talent yourself. So, yeah, I was quite happy that we beat Man City and Salford, Man City and Arsenal to the Salford striker. So I'm quite happy with that. Tony Steele, what are you saying? The lineup we're putting out today will start against Palace, but Maka will start instead of Zob, and we definitely need to send back. I'm not in disagreement with that. I think that's a fair point. Maka, I think, is just working his way back to fitness because he's only just returned to training. And I know we had some niggly injuries last season that they kept on putting off treatment for. So, yeah, Prakash, if Konate signs a new contract, along with you, yeah, I mean, hopefully we can. I don't want to see Konate go, but he needs to sign that new contract. He also needs to understand that he's not going to get huge wages along the lines of Van Dijk. He still needs to build himself up a little bit more on that side of things. But I think it'll be okay. Stephen Wilburn, what are you saying? Won't have 5 centre-backs. Gomez would have to be sold to bring in 2. Maybe. But as I say, there is a young English lad. I think, I can't remember who he plays for now. I'm going to have a little look at it. Charlie Creswell, his name is. And I've had that name suggested to me a few times that he could be like sort of the next big English centre-back. And he has actually been linked with us. He currently plays for Toulouse. He moved on from Leeds. So he took a big jump in his own career to move abroad to get first-team football. And he moved on to Toulouse. And that wasn't a bad move for him. And he is developing quite well over there. So he would be a cheap option. He's English as well. And he's big. He's over 6'4", I believe, or 6'5". So he's a big lad. So I don't. And again, being young, because he was born in 2002, so that makes him 22 now. So he's still got a lot of time ahead of him. I think that might be a good option for us, and a cheap option as well, and a homegrown option. So it kind of ticks a lot of boxes for me, more so than say going out and getting Scalvini from Atalanta, who could cost 2, 3, 4 times as much. But I think Creswell would be a good solid choice. Fireburn saying Arsenal finishing second again. Well, I don't know, actually. Let's see what Man City and Chelsea do. Chelsea are going to be an interesting one this season because I think they are looking a little bit more solid, even though they do like to throw their weight around in the transfer market. Damo saying that said Szoboszlai may start because with a proper 10 now and so much attacking players, we need legs, especially without a defensive-minded DM. Yeah, and Zob has got that engine to go backwards and forwards as a box-to-box. Very much so. And as Fireburn has said, don't forget to click that like button. Click it. That little thumbs up. Click that like button. Okay, so let's have a little... We've gone over the fixtures. Let's see if anything else is cropping up on the transfer side of things. Lots of highlights of Luis Diaz goals coming through on Twitter now. So, yeah, I mean, as somebody said on Twitter here as well, the dynamic between Gakpo and Ekitike and Wirtz, and Ekitike and Salad. Jesus. That's a... Oh, I can't believe I just said that. Oh, Damo, clip that one for me for crying out loud. Yeah, Salah. Anyway, Jesus. Yeah, the dynamic of that. We're actually going to see our first real shot at what the dynamics are going to be like, especially with Wirtz and Ekitike involved. Now we're going to see how they are going to operate during the game, how they're going to link up, especially with the likes of Gakpo and Salah being obviously the stalwarts of the club, so to speak. But I think I'm going to go a score prediction today of 4-1 Liverpool. I think a couple of goals in this half and a couple of goals in the second half. But yeah, I'm going to go 4-1 on this one. Cheers, guys. At least I'm getting a good laugh out of that one. Oh, dear. Okay, so let's have a little cruise through again. Nothing happening there. Obviously, Diaz's message, which honestly really, really nice. And yeah, come on. Right. So here's another thing I'm going to have a quick look at before the game starts, and that is going back onto the centre-back side of things. I'm going to do a little player comparison to Gahey and Creswell and Scalvini, if I can. Come on, get off there. Right, centre-backs. Okay, for last season, Charlie Creswell, and so there's no stats for Scalvini for last season, but looking at but the season previous, that's looking pretty good actually. Scalvini, according to the data and the statistics, would actually be the best option at the moment as it stands. But Gahey is obviously the more experienced. Slot is obviously, and his coaching team are very, very good at training the players up into their specific positions, but also expanding their positional work and their technique as well. So, I mean, when you look at it, Gahey's 24, Creswell's 22, Scalvini's 20. I think, obviously, if we get Gahey in, that may solve an issue, but I would still like to see another centre-back come in. The only risk, obviously, with Scalvini is the injury. He got an ACL injury last season, which I think would be cause for concern and maybe one to monitor for this season, see if he gets full first-team football at Atalanta again for this season, and see if he has developed or equals last season's statistics, so to speak, or the 23-24 season, because he had a breakout season then. And I do remember he was excellent when we played against Atalanta as well. So, yeah, I think he's definitely one to watch out for without a doubt. Fabian, yes, I did actually notice that. Van Dijk practicing the set pieces during training and all that sort of stuff. Is he going to take over from Trent, or is he just taking up a few pointers from Zob? Because I noticed it was Szoboszlai that was practicing with him as well. I would love to see it first game of the season. 25 yards out, free kick, and Van Dijk just comes along and whacks it in top corner. Because I do remember when we signed Van Dijk, that was a lot of talk about his long-range shooting and his free kick efforts, and we haven't actually seen that much of it. I think the vast majority, 99% of his goals, are all from headers. So I wouldn't mind seeing one being blasted into the top corner, just so we could put that one to bed. Prakash, what you're saying, looking forward to seeing the front four combined today. Yeah, I mean, so am I. But obviously, I'm not going to be able to watch all of it, unfortunately. But that is what it is. Oh, actually, yeah, that's a fair point. I didn't even notice it. Did you notice who was conspicuous by their absence in the squad list? Answers in the chat. I'll give you a couple of minutes to see who it is, because somebody's just pointed this out on Twitter. I'll give you a second to put something in the chat. Who is missing from the squad list today, besides Alisson and Gomez, obviously being the two obvious ones? And Fireburn, completely correct. He did used to do that a lot for Celtic. He did. And he did it a few times for Southampton, but we've never seen it really with us. He's had a few efforts, but they've always gone whee, flying over the crossbar. Oh, just seeing a picture of the program for today's game. That's nice. Let's see. Any other suggestions? Hang on. I need to check the squad list again quickly. Nope. Nunes is on there. He's on the bench. Any other takers? To be fair, I didn't notice this when I was looking through it either. Any guesses? is Ben Doak. Ben Doak's not even on the bench. And as far as I'm aware, there is no injury worries with him. So is that something to look at, maybe that he is in the process of being sold or moving out on loan somewhere? Obviously, Chiesa, he's he's still in Liverpool, so he's not even with the team at the moment. So he's another one that is on the way out. But look, yeah, it looks like Ben Doak isn't even there. I haven't seen anything about injuries or anything like that. So I guess we'll see. We'll see what the reasoning is on that one. I'm still waiting. Here we go. Well, it's a bit of a non-entity story, really. Guys, one of those clickbaity stories about Isak apparently absconding from Newcastle and flying back to Sweden and then coming back to the UK and putting his house up for sale or up for rent, which I did see that yesterday. So with Isak putting his house on the market for rent, he is obviously clearly confident that this move is going to happen at some point. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But looking at the rest of the posts and everything going on at the moment, there isn't a lot else to report on this. So it is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode today, but unfortunately, I do have my own work to be getting on with as well. But I'll be back tomorrow morning with another morning show where we'll go over today's game, any other transfer news. Obviously, a lot of things have been hitting very, very quickly this morning, so we may get a little bit more clarification during the next 24 hours as to what's happening with a few of the players. But don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. As I say, we're on our way to 1,500 subs, and we're over 1,100 now. So keep on subscribing and keep on sharing the channel around. Share it amongst your friends. Get people interested in this and get people involved. And thank you very much for the guys in the chat for watching. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the next stream.